They were rampaging along, won their first 2 games. They've lost their last 2, but they could have probably won both of them.
Fantastic looking facility there in the deep south.
I'm sure they're going to come out firing tonight.
From memory, he was leading last week. Are you going to be leading this week? Or
From bottom with 6 points and second from bottom with 3. Yes and no. Yes and no. It paid off for them. They got a 2, doubled a 4 and won 6 points. Depends what the teams above them do, doesn't it?
Hello and welcome to the Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel. I'm Erin and I'm joined on this episode today by my co-host Alex Reid. Hi Alex.
Hello.
How you going?
I'm good. I'm good so far.
Nice. Well, today we're going to talk to our newly crowned National Champion of Champions, Linda Ralph and Ross Ellery. Then we're going to talk to Sharon Sims, who will be naming the North Island team in this year's North versus South battle. But first, though, we're going to have a look back at what happened over the weekend at Nine with the Champion of Champions triples.
Yes, we are. It's going to be a jam-packed show here, and I'm looking forward to all of it. At the end, we're going to get to hear, for the first time anywhere, what the North Island team is in that North versus South battle, which will be followed by a media release tomorrow, which is pretty exciting. But yes, we thought we'll start at the beginning. So over the weekend at Nine Bowling Club, they held their second Champion of Champions event. They had the singles. They had the singles first up, didn't they? Yes, they must have. No. Was it their first Champion of Champions event?
It's their first Champion of Champions event.
For this year, because they had one last year.
Yes, yeah.
The triples.
Bowls Hastings looked after us with the singles.
That's the one. I'm just testing you.
Yeah.
So we had the Champion of Champion triples, and it was, another great sort of 3 days of bowls. We had live streaming going on and updates on Bowl Sub Aotearoa. And from that, we got some pretty good semi-finals. So in the men's side, in the semi-finals, it was Ross Ellery, Rowan Tees and Doug Pitcher from the Foxton and Beach Bowling Club took on Nathan Glass and Kelvin Scott and Ricky Cook from the Elmwood Park Bowling Club. And that was an incredible semi-final. I'd recommend going to watch it if anyone feels inclined to do so. They won 14-13. And I won't tell you how they won because it'll ruin the game. But it was a great game to watch. And, for Foxton and Beach to get up and over that's pretty started lineup from Elmwood Park.
Yeah.
That's a pretty fair effort. And in the other semi-final, we saw Dean Drummond, Neil Barron and Patrick Golder from Bowls Hastings, so they play at the other artificial up the other side of the country, take on Sheldon Baggery Howley, Elliot Mason and Thomas Cockerell from Gora, and they beat them 13-11. And then in the final, as we've alluded to, we're speaking to Ross Ellery, so his team of him, Rowan and Doug, emerged victorious there. But a great weekend of bowls on the men's side. And on the women's side of the draw, or the whatever you call it, the women's event, we saw Karen Hemmer, who we've had on this podcast before. She went. I think she's going to all 4 Champ events.
She is. She's a busy lady over July.
Ridiculous. Playing with Linda Ralph and Lisa Prideaux of Carlton Cornwall in the semi-final. They took on Debbie Sansom, Debbie Salt and Jackie Sutton from Woolston Park, and beat them comfortably, 22-7. And in the other semi-final, we saw Jean Stratford, Evelyn Usher and Robin Hall from Waihopai beat Joe Edwards, Colleen Earl and Faye Wilkinson from Nelson, 12-11. So that was a good game, and Joe's had a couple of bites of the Champ cherry and fallen up just that little bit short,
Yeah.
So a good couple of events in that final. Karen, Linda and Lisa were able to sort of roll over the top of Jean Stratford's team, but just a great event all round for both of them. And the other cool thing we saw at the Champs, Erin, was a number of silver stars being handed out.
Handed out, yes.
Not held out. If they held out, someone could reach them.
So what's the qualification to receive a Silver Star, Alex?
So great question. So Bowls New Zealand has 2 national recognitions for 5 titles. We have a Gold Star, which was brought into play in the 50s to recognise 5 Open National Championship titles. So when you go to an Open Nationals, like a Somerset Nationals, that counts.
Yep.
And then in 2016, when we turned 100, I think, we invented the Silver Star Award, which is for all the other national events that Bowls New Zealand run. So you've got a National Inter-Club, a National Inter-Centre, a National Champion of Champions. They're a slightly more closed event because you sort of either have to be selected for or qualify through your centre to get to them.
Yep.
If you win 5 of those, you get 5 or you get a silver star. So we had 2 ones to give for times gone by, one to Steve Beale, who's got a silver star, and one to Ben King. So they were presented with their silver star at the Championship Triples, which was lovely, and there are photos on our website of that. And the other 2 silver stars went to the 2 people we're speaking to today, Ross Ellery and Linda Ralph. So I won't go through their achievements too in depth in this bit because we'll ruin it for the
when we're talking
interview.
to them.
But yeah, 4 silver stars given out. So it was a sort of quite a sparkling weekend on that front.
Congratulations to all those receiving silver stars.
Yeah, it was incredible. It's good. I like it when we acknowledge that sort of achievement. It's not. I mean, it's hard to do. Ross Ellery, his first title was 2008, and his 5th one's 2022. And Linda Ralph had a 10-year gap, a decade between hers. So it just rewards a bit of commitment to the sport, I think. The other thing I wanted to chat about, Erin, was the YouTube live streaming.
Yes.
For 2 reasons. The first one is we will have all seen. There's lots of spam links happening at the moment.
Yes, there are. They used to hit up Australia a lot, didn't they? Australia's Facebook page. Now they're targeting us.
We used to sit there and go, oh, poor Australia.
They'll never notice us.
They won't come after Bowls New Zealand, but they have. So in the comments for lots of things, if you see anything that says, click here for live streaming, and it does not say YouTube, and it does try and charge you, that's a scam. You know, Bowls New Zealand will never ever charge.
I think you could almost be safe to say, if we have a stream, we're going to post it.
Yeah.
And that picture at the top of all those comments for how Facebook works, that is where you go. That is our Bowls New Zealand link.
Absolutely.
We're never going to send you to the wrong place. Any kind of comment that has a link in it that says watch it here, watch it live, stream it here, that is just, don't even go near it.
Yeah.
Just leave it alone because that's just people trying to grab you and trick you.
Yeah, avoid at all costs. And we do spend quite a lot of time during these events moderating those comments for spam because we get more than you would think, but some can slip under the radar. Yeah. And there's now, someone's invented a fake page that we're trying to get taken down.
Yes,
so just what we're just trying to say is just be wary. And I think particularly with this Commonwealth Games coming up, we're going to see a lot of links claiming that there's bowls on them, and they're going to charge, and it's not good.
Probably just to note out there to our bowling community, in New Zealand, the only place that you will be able to watch the coverage of the Commonwealth Games will be through Sky Sport and Prime. So there will be no live streaming anywhere because Sky Sport are the exclusive broadcast rights holders. Anything else there is just, again, trying to trick you, trying to jump on just the fact that there is a big event happening. So just people out there, please be very, very aware. Don't think that, because someone's putting a link up, you'll be able to watch something free. It needs to be Prime TV or it needs to be Sky Sport in this country. Otherwise, you're not going to be getting to the right place.
We'll do our best during the Com Games to communicate what we know about what's being streamed. Like I think I had a chat with you, Erin. There's a lot of sport going on during the Com Games.
There is.
It becomes a bit in flux. It's hard to know before it's happening what's going to be on, where and when. So we'll try to keep our community up to date, but just please be wary of the comments. I hate for someone to get stung. Yeah,
I think the important thing there, we will try and share Sky Sports communication as to where they're going to be playing what channel at what time. As with all international events like this, they might put it on this channel to start with, but then they might have to shift it to another channel because another sport's going on a little bit longer than they expected. It's always best if you keep an eye on the coverage on the TV because they're quite good at updating where sports have possibly moved from the initial programming, as well as with on Prime.
Absolutely. Yeah. And in happier news, we've had a really good response to the YouTube live streaming.
Yes.
Over the last 3 Champ events, we've had 25,953 unique views. 404 new people have pressed the subscribe button, and that's a good way. If you haven't pressed the subscribe button, it's a good way to get notified of live streaming and cutting out the middleman because your YouTube will just say Bowls New Zealand is live with the National Champion Blaz. There's been 117,880 views on our videos, 47,833 hours of content, and with an average watch time of 25 minutes, and 17,669 new people who found our channel for the first time. So
that's a lot of numbers.
It is a lot of numbers. I'm pleased I got through them without stumbling. But
you don't have to redo that one.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool to see our community hop on that bandwagon like that and support the live streaming, and it's just going to mean that there's going to be more and more available in the future.
So if we have a look at that number, 47,833 hours of content watched.
Yes.
This is just in relation to the Champ of Champs videos that have gone up recently, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yep. So that, if you go 47,833, I'm using Google here, 284 weeks worth of watch time.
That's a lot of watch time.
That is nearly a year's worth of watch time. So everyone out there who is watching this product that we're putting out there into the world, we've nearly had 2/3 of a year watched.
Cool. Thank
on
you.
our
Keep it up, guys.
yeah
It's
yeah.
just the mind-boggling things, but it's great that we're able to access this live streaming now, and it's looking better and better. The other thing I was going to talk about, I think we got a good response. So we try and ask our Facebook community for feedback on questions sometimes to bring up on the Bowls Hour. And this week I thought I will ask, what's the best shot you've ever seen? And we had one comment. We had one comment, and it was someone saying it was Alex Reid's shot in the inaugural Bowls 3-5 to put the jack in the ditch.
And win it on a tie break.
I promise I didn't pay her. So obviously more than one comment would be good. So we'll ask the question again and see if we can get some more feedback on that, because there's lots of good bowls that get played. But
What's the best shot you've ever seen? You can't claim your own.
it's a good question. I've seen a couple of really good bowls.
Mm-hmm.
I saw someone nominate bouncing the jack back up the rink for a number once,
Okay.
and that was mind-boggling, because
Yep.
they said, I'll hit it really hard and it'll bounce out of the ditch and go back up the rink for a 4 or 5. And they hit it really hard and it bounced out of the ditch and went back up the rink for a 4 or 5. So I thought that was pretty cool.
So not just a shot, but the fact that they could
They even
called
they called it the arrogance of the person.
Yeah.
Something like, this is exactly what's going to happen, and then it did. So I thought that was pretty.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And if we get more feedback, I'll tell you about another good shot next week, Erin.
Yep.
So lastly, just before we move on to the end of the introduction, we are talking to Sharon Sims very shortly at the end of this episode to announce our North Island team. It'll be 8 people, and the event criteria state that the side must include at least one para bowler, one under 26 bowler, one over 65 bowler, and the other 5 vacancies are entirely an open vault.
Yeah.
So, we just wait and see what Sharon has to tell us about that team. So we'll announce that one shortly, and then next week we'll talk to Scruff, Dave Edwards, and we'll get his South Island team of 8.
Excellent. That sounds fantastic. We cannot wait to have that event back this year, seeing that everything was all put in place and ready to go, but COVID locked us all up in Auckland and we couldn't get down to Dunedin to run it.
Yeah.
So it's really, really good to be able to be running that event again. That is fantastic. That's an excellent recap on what we've just done over the last week and weekend there, Alex. Thank you very much for that. And for everyone else, coming up next, we're going to talk to Linda Ralph here on the Bowls Hour. Welcome back to the Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel. Now we are speaking with Linda as the newly crowned champion of champion triples winner. How are ya, Linda?
Oh, very good. Thanks, Erin.
Good. Nice to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
No, we're more than happy to have you on, and it's you've had a big weekend, haven't you, Linda? When did you get back from Wellington? Did you stay over a night and then come back up, or?
No, we didn't stay. We came back on a Sunday night. Fortunately, our flights were a bit later and they were delayed a bit, so that was fine. We could get on the flight plan, so that was good.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
That's always good news. So we've said it just a bit earlier, but you've just been crowned the National Champion of Champion Triples winner, and you've won your Silver Star. But before we get to that, I thought we might start at the beginning and go right back to the start. So could you tell us, what's your earliest memory of lawn bowls?
My earliest memory, well, my mum, she was very involved in competitive bowls in South Africa. So I was actually a tennis player and played competitive tennis. But Mum was always dressed up in her whites, immaculately dressed, and off to bowls, very determined. And my sister and I used to go and watch her every now and then, which was sometimes quite nerve-wracking, but that's how we slowly got into bowls, eventually.
Did you think back then that you would take up the sport properly, Linda?
Well, I think there was one big tournament my mom took us on as beginners to play with her, and it was an all Transvaal. It's 4 districts, so we were played in the front, my sister and I, and we won the big tournament, and that's what motivated us. So everyone made a big fuss of us and everything. But I used to play tennis and bowls at the same time. Not much bowls, more tennis, but slowly got into the bowls, the competitive side.
Fair enough too. And was that so? My next question was sort of if you could just talk us through the clubs you've played at, I suppose, in both South Africa and New Zealand over your time.
Yes, I belong to the Bedfordview Country Club in South Africa, and I played a bit there. It was also a club where Lorna Smith was a member, and my mom took her on as somebody that in the team, and then she moved away. But it was also a very competitive club, and I had a little bit of bowls there, and I had the opportunity of playing against some of the really good players, even though I was still a new bowler, so that helped.
Yeah, for sure. And then when you moved over to this side of the world, slightly different greens. When we moved over, it was a totally different green, because in South Africa the greens were really on the heavy side and much narrower. The green you'd take was like to the first peg and even less than that. But coming over here, it was really quick. And when we first came here, we joined the Howick Bowling Club, and I was there for quite a number of years. And then eventually moved on to Pekaranga, where there were a lot of strong bowlers and very competitive. And so people started moving away from Pekaranga, and then a few of us joined Carlton, Cornwall, which has been a really good club. Yeah, Carlton's had an incredible record over the last few years, particularly with your the women's side, Linda? It's been amazing to watch, really. Yes,
I think we teamed up together, and we all sort of got the same focus on trying to do well and very competitive. So that's good, and some very good players at Carlton, and that improves your bowls. So that's a little, you think sometimes you shouldn't move, but, if it's not competitive enough and you are a competitive bowler, it actually does your bowls good by joining a club where players have the same mind frame.
Absolutely.
Or frame of mind. Yeah.
And you can't.
So that's what I...
Yeah.
Sorry?
Oh, so I was going to say, you can't argue with your results either, Linda.
You're
You're
thank
doing
you.
good.
I've been fortunate to play with some really good bowlers as well, so that's been good,
For sure. So, if you look back, I suppose, it's always a hard question to ask, but over your career, are there any idols or any people that you've tried to emulate your game off that stand out to you?
Not really, to be honest. I think just my mom, really, because she used to be a really good singles player and very consistent, and she did play for South Africa. So she's been my idol, and she was always very good on the bowling green, very cool and calm, didn't ever get upset. So she was admired, as a really good bowler. So she was my idol as a young person, and still is, to this day.
It's lovely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It must be nice to have shared in success as well with your mother, as you've won sort of these titles on this side of the world. Was she excited when you'd sort of go back and go, oh, this happened?
Well, she still watches us. She was on at my brother's place on Sunday when we won, and they put it on the big screen, and she was very excited. Even though she doesn't see that well, she says we all played very well. So I don't think she wanted to see the bad ones.
That's brilliant. That's lovely.
Yeah.
That's one of the cool things. It's what we've liked about having that live streaming on YouTube is that you can share it with. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can watch it. That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
So I suppose that brings us to your Silver Star, which is a club that you've entered now, Linda. Not many people have won a Silver Star. Five of the national titles that aren't one of the open ones. Can you talk us through? So I see I've got it in front of me. Your first title was the club the champion of champion singles in 2012. How did that one go?
Yes. Yeah, well, let's started with the Auckland singles. So I won the Auckland singles. Then we had to play regional singles, and I won that. And that was North Harbour, Far North, Northlands, and Auckland. So we played that. I think that was played in Auckland. And then the final playoff was in Invercargill. I remember arriving late that night because I think the plane was delayed, and I thought, I'm not even going to get a practice. But I still went down to the club, and I think they allowed me to play I think probably about 20 minutes. And I thought, I hope, just want to win one game tomorrow and I'll be happy. But anyway, I met the previous year's winner, and I lost by one shot, and that was to Renette McLaughlin. She had won it the previous time.
Yes.
But then all the other games went really well, and I won all of them. And when they worked out the aggregate, I'd won the whole thing. So that was very exciting. And then I got a trip to Malaysia, which was wonderful. At that time, if you won that, you'd go to Malaysia and play in the Asia Pacific mixed pairs and singles. So I went over with Pat Hula, and also went because he won the singles, and we played in the mixed pairs, and it was really good.
Yeah.
Very good experience. Very exciting,
Absolutely, that sounds like a good start to your 5, and I suppose it covers. I was going to ask about exciting moments, but that would be one of them.
Yeah. That was my exciting moment, I must say. Yes,
rightly so too. And as you went through, in 2014 you won the New Zealand mixed pairs, and in 2019 you were part of an inter-centre title. So you're on 3 titles then, and then last year you won the Champion of Champion 4s to get to 4. Were you aware going into this year that you were close to your silver star? Did that cross your mind?
Yeah, I was aware of it. Yes, I knew I needed one more, so I was a little bit disappointed with the singles. I think I got to 19 too quickly in Hastings. I was down, and then I got to 19, and I think suddenly, instead of thinking just the same thing and the same routine, I thought draw the shot, try and get one, So, and I think, it did go through my mind. I felt I could still have won, but my opposition did play well there for those 2 ends. And then winning the triples, well, that was wonderful. I did know I had it then,
Yeah, for sure. So what sort of, how did it feel during, obviously you guys are pretty, you're a great team, you and Lisa and Karen, that's the ones.
That's right.
What was there a feeling afterwards? When did it sink in? Has it sunk in yet that you won your national title and your silver star? Was there much conversation, or how did it go?
Well, it was. I think what it was, because we all really keen to do well, and also we're really good friends off the green and have a lot of fun. So I think what actually happened, we were, it started off well, and we won some very close games, and it just went really well. So it has, when I got the silver star and we won the title, it was really a big thrill. I felt very emotional, really. So, yeah.
Good. Well, it's well. I mean, it's I'm pleased that it means something to someone. It's great to see. It's one of the cool things about bowls is that we can have these sorts of achievements. And it was a great weekend, and it was good to watch you guys. And cool for the Carlton Cornwall Club as well, because you had such a dominant season in Auckland. It's cool that you've followed through pretty well. So you go, Linda.
Can I just say one more thing? I do want to say thank you to our club, Carlton Cornwall, because they booked all our flights. They've sorted our accommodation out. They've really made it easy for us to compete and do well. So a big thank you to them for everything.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's good to see. That's all part of that club spirit, isn't it? And it all just leads towards success, really.
Yes, that's true. Yep.
Cool. So, in every we're up to number 23 or 24 of the bowls hour, and everyone at the end of them we ask a weird little question just to get a feel for a bit about someone's personality or what they do. So, we've had mousetraps in the past, but this week my bonus question, Linda, is what's your cure for hiccups if you have a cure? What do you do if you have hiccups? How do you fix them?
Well, I take a deep breath and I hold it for as long as I can, and then hopefully they're gone by then.
Okay, that works. I should be writing.
Be writing these down, Alex.
I could write them down. That's a good plan.
Yeah.
So
I was half expecting you to say, I'll hold a deep breath until the hiccup comes again. That's not working.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's
Anyway.
Congratulations once again on your winning weekend and for your silver star. That's a massive achievement. So enjoy. Keep winning, basking in that winning glow. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today, Linda. It's been good having you on the show.
Thanks, Linda.
Thanks, Erin, and thanks, Alex.
No worries.
Talking to you. Okay.
And coming up next, we've got Ross Ellery here on the Bowls Hour. Welcome back to the Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel, and we are now speaking with Ross. Alex, do you want to give us a little bit of an intro about Ross?
Yes, yep. Yeah, we're speaking to Ross Ellery. He's just a recently crowned national champion of champion triples winning skip, Erin.
Well done, Ross.
I got it.
Welcome to the show.
It's great to have you on. Thanks, Ross. Yeah. So what I thought we'd do, because not only have you won the national champion of champion triples, but you've been awarded with the Bowls New Zealand Silver Star, which is a pretty mighty achievement. I thought we'd just start right at the beginning, and I just wanted to ask you, what's your earliest memory of bowls?
So, as a youngster, I was a teenager. I played a little bit of indoor bowls with my father. Used to go along with him at night, and then my best friend, he started playing outdoor bowls at college, and he said to me, "Oh, Ross, why don't you just come along and give it a go?" Because he was playing indoor bowls with us as well. And I said, yeah, why not? So I'm a Bulls boy. So trottled down to the local Bulls bowling club and went from there. I was about 17 or 18. I used to play a little bit of rugby and cricket, but my feet not very good, very flat. And I used to suffer from a lot of ankle injuries, sprains and stuff because I was flat-footed. And, I sort of thought, doctor's advice was, you can't keep doing this, you better to take something else up. So that's when I turned to bowls.
Fair enough. It sounds like a good enough reason. So Bulls was the first club that you played at. How long did you stay there for?
So I was there for 4 years, and I picked it up pretty good, and I thought, I'm not too bad at this game. But Bulls, it was a small club, but back then there was still quite a few members, but I had a little bit of coaching and stuff, and there was encouraged to join a city club and play stronger opposition just to improve your game, and that's when I moved from Bulls to Palmerston North Bowling Club.
Fair enough. And you were there for how long?
I was there right up till 1996, I think it was, because my wife at the time had just got another job in Wellington, and we moved from there. But sorry, in between that, I did an OE and went overseas for 2 or 3 years, and then when I came back, I went back to Palmerston North again.
Oh, sweet as. Was it like riding a bike when you came back to Bowls after that little break, or did it take you a while to sort of kick into gear?
No, I picked up pretty quickly from where I left off. I did my OE for just over 2 years. And, came back and picked it up pretty quickly. But at the time, I'd met my partner-to-be and then ended up being my wife. So, it changed the landscape a little bit.
Oh, fair enough. And you're now playing, so you won this title out of the Foxton and Beach Bowling Club.
Correct, yes.
Can you talk to us a bit about your relationship with them? How long have you been there for?
I've only just been... This is my 4th year.
Oh, yeah.
So, was previously living in Bulls, playing out of Palmerston North, and we brought a section and decided to develop it and build a house and that was where we wanted to retire. So decided to join Foxton Beach Bowling Club because just thought a bit of a change instead of travelling into Palmerston all the time. So yeah, just 4 years.
Excellent.
Was paid seriously there for 3.5. So
Cool.
first year I sort of missed a lot of the season with different things. I had a little bit of an injury and trying to get the house sorted and stuff like that. So really the last 3 years has been been dedicated to Foxton Beach on a full time.
Cool, and we'll get to them when we talk about this most recent one. But they've had a tough time, so I was pleased to see you guys get through on the national champion of champion triples. But just quickly before we get to that, I just wanted to pick your brain on sort of if you look back over your career, apart from this national champion of champion triples one, what exciting moments sort of pop out to you?
Mate, definitely winning the champion of champion singles. New Zealand singles, that was probably my highest moment, and then going on to play in Malaysia.
Okay.
As a New Zealand. Yeah, so I went to Malaysia with Sandra Keith because she was the women's singles champion at the time. I was the men's, and we played in that Asian tournament that they have in Malaysia, and we played mixed pairs together. So for me, that was my highlight, really, and that was just a great experience. But winning that winning that pathway singles, that was huge for me.
What was it like to go overseas? What were the greens like over there?
So in Malaysia, it was carpet. It was a covered facility, but not completely covered. So it was open, half a wall, and then open because it's so hot. Man, the heat. And you get the rain, the tropical storms every day, and that was an experience. And then halfway through the day, you knocked off for a couple of hours because the Malaysians went away and had prayer sessions. So you sat around for a couple of hours,
have a nap,
waiting till you're waiting for them to, that's their religion, do their bit, and then you came back out and played. So I actually qualified for that tournament. In the singles, and then lost my knockout game on an extra end, which was to a Filipino opponent.
Bugger.
Which was disappointing, but I enjoyed the experience, and great tournament. It was just great to play in, and it was good to wear the black and white,
Yeah, for sure. I can see how that would be a memory that would stick with you.
For sure, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look over your bowling career, are there any people you've looked up to or tried to take cues from that you think, that's the sort of bowler I want to be like?
Yeah, well, when I joined, Peter Ballas was on the scene and was huge for New Zealand. Phil Scoggin, of course, out of my own centre. Phil was great. When I joined Palmerston North, Kevin Wing was another one, big New Zealand bowler at the time. Rowan Brassey, those sort of names you looked up to. It's fortunate to have a bit of coaching from Phil Skog and Kevin Wing steering you in the right direction, and those sort of people, they were legends really. So they were great for me.
Yeah, big names for sure.
Big names. And Peter Ballas, everyone talked about Peter Ballas. So, but at the time, that was when Gary Lawson was starting to come onto the scene as well. Yeah, definitely those sorts of people.
That's not a bad list.
No.
Fair enough too. So if we talk about now your recent success at the National Champion of Champion Triples, it's been, when's your last one? I've got it in front of me. So you've got a silver star, which is hard to get. It's a pretty impressive achievement, and you won the club sides, so that's your interclub in 2008, your centre sides in 2009 and 10, your club singles in 2015. Did you know you were on 4 going into the National Champion of Champion Triples?
I did. Yes, I did. I definitely knew that because when I'd won my singles in 2015,
2015, yeah.
Yes, when I knew that, I knew I had 4, and I thought I've got 2 chances at it this year because I played in the Champion singles up in Hastings.
Yeah.
and I managed to qualify, but went out first round to Dean Elgar, and I was pretty disappointed because I didn't play very good, and and I'd played pretty reasonable to qualify. And, you always back myself. So I definitely knew that it'd be nice to win one of these events and get that star, because it has been on my mind, as an achievement I wanted to get, and definitely do.
Oh, brilliant. That's good. So how did it feel to get over the line then? You had some close games. I watched you win against the semi-final against Elmwood Park. Can you talk us through that game? What was going through your mind during that one?
Mate, my guys, Doug and Rowan, of course, the draw had come out and we'd got a bye and we're into that round, and, everybody wouldn't have given us much of a chance, to be fair, because, a pretty hot team and we're favourites. And I just said to my boys, look, be cool, be calm, play every end, play every bowl, play every end, and just hang in there, stay in the fight. We can beat these guys. We beat these guys, the final looms. And, man, it was a tough battle, and I had a little bit of luck with the drive, but we were always in the fight, and the guys played steady, and going into that second to last end where we needed 3 for the extra end, I couldn't ask any more out of my boys. They dug through 2 beautiful bowls, and Ryan countered, and then they attacked, and we got a little bit of, a bit of fortune, and the jack stayed alive, and I just had to draw another one to force the extra end. And then on that extra end, Doug played a fantastic first bowl, and it stayed there the whole game and never moved. So
brilliant.
Yeah,
that's bowls, Yeah,
that's bowls. You do have got to have a little bit of luck, but you've got to play those big shots too. And I thought at times we all sort of chipped in, and when I needed to play a good shot, I did, I think, and we got the result for that semi-final.
Absolutely, and then in the final, you were a bit more comfortable going by the score line. Did it sink in? Was there a point during that final when you thought, "Oh, I'm not far away now. If we can finish this game"?
That's right, because we were chipping the board, we were chipping away and ticking it over, and just getting a little bit of a break, We had a handy lead, but I crossed over and I said at one stage, boys, keep it going, because we just, we don't want to give them a chance. And 2 or 3 ends away from home, I thought we score 1 or 2 here, and pretty much that's game over. And I really thought that. And then I think in the second to last end, my boys got a little bit of a wobble and played one end not very good, and I managed to draw a good third shot, which ended up being killed, and we replayed the end and we scored, and we didn't have to play the last end. And I was pretty confident then that yes, we've won, we've achieved a great milestone for myself, for my team, and definitely for my club.
Absolutely. So, like, on the front of the club, like Foxton and Beach has had a pretty rough time of it at the moment. You don't have anywhere to play.
That's right.
For the minute. What sort of support or response, or there must have been a lot of emotions going on with the Foxton and Beach club, and you guys haven't come home with a national title.
Exactly, because we were fortunate that our ladies had also qualified in the ladies event as well. So, huge to have 2 teams in the one event, the triples, and representing the club and heading to that event. Unfortunately, they only got 2 wins and didn't qualify, but they were there most days to watch us and egg us on, and we had some supporters come down. Not a lot, but, it makes a difference. And you see them in the crowd there watching and, earing you on, come on, you can just see the emotion. So for them, it was great. And for us, it was huge.
Absolutely.
Just to have that support. And to be honest, Alex, my phone didn't stop going off for ages after we'd finished. It just kept pinging away. And I had a lot of messages and congratulations and stuff to check after I got home. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just huge for our club, especially with the fire and having no club, and the green got damaged, and we're getting through that process, and hopefully we'll be up not too far into the new season. But huge for the club, mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They've never had anything like this happen before. You know, to win an event, a national event, is huge for them.
That's what I was going to ask about, like Rowan and Doug. Obviously, you're the more experienced one, having won your Silver Star now. You know, what was it like for them, do you think, to have come through this national event? And did you have to... What am I trying to say? Obviously, you were a good mentor to them. Was there much managing you had to do, like just sort of keeping your team calm and as they went through? Did they need much help, or how did it go?
A little bit. I had to give them the odd talk. I don't know if you remember our very first qualifying game. We were the streaming game, and they just said they were so nervous because they were worried about the cameras. And, they were just like, man, I'm so... And we were 17-0 down before we scored, you know, and they were just couldn't find it, not playing well, and you know, and then the pressure's on me. But we ended up coming back, and we lost that game 18-11, and they just said, oh man, I hope we don't have to do that again. And I said, well, we're here to win, boys. Come on, you know, pick yourselves up, concentrate on what you have to do and stuff. And I said, because if we qualify and we get and go well, I said, we'll definitely be on streaming again.
Yeah,
so you're going to have to get over it. Back on those cameras, so you've got to get over it. And we talked about that when the draw had come out and we were playing the Canterbury boys in the semi-final, and I said, this is a streaming game. I said, forget about the nerves, forget about the cameras, concentrate on what you have to do.
Yeah.
And I think that worked. You know, they did. They felt a lot better, but definitely after we won, you know, Rowan said, I'm shaking, you know, believing what he'd done. And Doug, it was just said, I never thought we'd ever win, Ross. And I said, well, I always back us to win. Yeah. This is why we play. You know, the goal to me is always to win. And I'm a great believer in every dog has their day, and we had our day.
And what good timing for your club, isn't it? I think the great thing that has started happening across the events generally is no longer is the streaming just going to be for a quarterfinal, a semi-final, a final. There have been very a lot of hard work and effort goes into trying to create a draw, or not so much the draw, but plan the rinks so that everyone has their time on the streaming rink. And I think part of that is, as we mentioned earlier, Alex, with Linda, and it was at another event as well, they've got family overseas and people are able to watch their games. So even though they can't be here, they can actually see family members playing bowls, which is so much for so many people as well. The other thing, as you say, Ross, is it's just... Normally, if you've played in like a sectional play at the Somerset National Championship Open, you know, you might not necessarily make it through post section, so you don't get that experience in front of the cameras when the cameras are covering just the post section play. Whereas now, putting everyone onto a streaming rink gives each club that is represented there the ability to put it up on their TV in their club room and have their club proud of their team that's out there. It gives everyone the opportunity to share it with their friends and family so that they can be watched. And it also, as you say, gives them the experience, gets their first lot of nerves out of the way because they've been on the cameras before, and then then it kind of disappears and you forget about it a little bit.
You can win.
And you can win, just like you guys have done. And how cool is it that you were able to get through all those nerves and then you were able to get back on the cameras and they could watch you all win again. That's awesome.
Well,
yeah,
especially for those two. You know, I wasn't nervous because I'd played in front of cameras many times and stuff like that. And you've got a job to do, and you just got to put those things out of your mind.
Absolutely.
But it is a great service because my wife, who's not a bowls fan at all, she says, you know, she'd rather watch paint dry. She actually watched the final, so that was...
There you go.
Yeah, because she said, man, she was surprised. When I texted her, I said, we're in the final, she thought, I better have a look. So she did, and enjoyed it. So
that's as good a win as the
Silver Star.
It's a Silver Star.
Exactly.
You need to watch a game.
Yes.
That's great. Okay. Well, what we do every episode, Ross, is we ask a bonus question, which is just something. It's nothing to do with bowls. Just to get your opinion. So the bonus question for you, this time, or that we've asked this time, is what's your cure for hiccups? How do you fix hiccups?
As in hiccups, when you've got the hiccups and you can't stop.
That's the one. Yeah.
How do
if
you get rid
if
of
you've got
them?
the hiccups, what's your
Well,
solution?
My mother's old recipe was, hold your breath, squeeze your nose, and try and do that as long as you can. When you hiccup, hopefully by holding your breath, it goes away. So
Okay.
sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. or try and drink a glass of water while you're hiccuping. So, but I found that pretty hard.
That sounds dangerous, that one.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it does. But just holding your breath. And my wife would say, breathe through your nose, Ross. So, yeah.
Excellent. Oh, that's a good answer to that question.
Yeah, no. Look, no, fantastic. And I must admit, probably I am still on a bit of a high, and we're hoping as a team to get together. I thought I might arrange it this weekend because, we were driving home, so we just had a quiet drink at the club, but
Nice.
maybe just having another couple of drinks and a bit of a barbecue or a meal together and just reflect on what we've done and what we've achieved.
That'd be great. Well, we'll let you go and plan that. Check your phone for any other messages that may have come through. And probably many more once this podcast is out there into the world and everyone's been able to take the time to have a little bit of a listen to. So thank you so much for talking to us, Ross, today. It's been great having you on the show. And now coming up next, we've got Sharon Sims, who's going to name the North Island team for the North versus South competition here on the Bowls Hour. Welcome back to the Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel. So, Alex, who do we have up last today?
Yes, hello, welcome back to the Bowls Hour, and I've got Sharon Sims on the line now, the non-playing captain of the North Island team. How are you, Sharon?
I'm very well, thanks, Alex.
It's always good news. So we've got you on the show this evening to talk about the North-South match that is coming up in the not too distant future. So I thought we'd start at the beginning. And what do you think of this concept that we have with the North-South?
Oh, it's great. I think it's always a good rivalry, and I know in the past there has been a competition like this, but it's great to see one back again.
Yeah, for sure, and we get a bit parochial, don't we, with our island? So I'm looking forward to seeing people and encourage people to participate in that. I think, get behind your team of choice, whether that be the island you were born in or the one that you are living in now. I suppose you have to make your make your call. So you're the non-playing captain selector for the North Island team. When did you get approached to do that role?
Well, originally over a year ago, when there was a plan to run it last year, but of course COVID got in the way. So, sorry. Then I was asked just about the end of June, so only a few weeks ago.
Yeah, for sure. And you've had a few, I suppose, because we were planning to have it last year, and we did get pandemic, I suppose, and there was a team announced for that and all that sort of stuff. Is it nice to have that second chance to have a go at this role?
Absolutely. Everyone was disappointed when it didn't happen last time, so it's great to see it underway again.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we've had the people listening on tenterhooks long enough, so I'll get into the main question and the main reason we've got you on the show this evening. So if you could, in your own time and in whatever order you want to name it, could you please name the That's fantastic. Could you please name the players that you've selected to play in the North Island team at the match?
Okay, well, we'll start with the men. So Mark Noble, Seamus Curtin, Mike Galloway and Tony Ransom.
Mm-hmm.
And the women, Nicole Toomey, Selena Goddard, Leanne Paulson and Linda Ralph.
Fantastic. That's going to be exciting, and we don't know what the South Island team is yet. So we'll publish the North Island team on the website tomorrow morning after the show's aired, and people can sort of see what they think of that. Was it a hard team to pick, Sharon?
yes and no. I mean, so there were some criteria around having a variety of players there. So we have a physically disabled player in our case, a Parajacks player, an under 26 and an over 65. I felt the men's team in my case was fairly easy, but the women required a little bit more thought. But I'm very happy with the 8 that we've got.
For sure. And what sort of response have you had from the players?
Oh, they're all excited and delighted to be part of it. Yes, and looking forward to it.
Fantastic. That's what we want. And my last question, I suppose, is, and I hope there's only one answer to this one, but how do you think the North Island team's going to get on at the match?
Oh, very well. We've got a good, strong, compatible team with all of them. Well, a lot of them have got some really good recent Form 1 carpet in particular. So I don't think the Big Blue's going to phase any of them. No, we're looking forward to showing them how it's done.
Absolutely brilliant. I've got one last. It's a bonus question that we always ask on this thing. I thought we may as well chuck it in your direction as well, Sharon, and see what we can get. So I was going to ask you, what's your cure for hiccups? Do you have one?
Well, patience usually works. Other than that, the old glass of water out of the back, drinking water out of the back of a glass usually is the go-to.
Fair enough. That sounds about right to me. Oh, thank you very much for coming on the show to announce your team, Sharon. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you again before we get to the match. But in the meantime, thank you very much and have a great evening.
Okay. Thanks, Alex. Bye.
So that's going to be very excited, Alex, North versus South, when it rolls around. And we can't wait until we hear the South team next week. People will just have to tune back in. But what I've been waiting to hear is what your fix for hiccups is.
My hiccup cure.
Yes. What is your hiccup cure?
Hiccups actually frighten me a little bit because I know that there's, like in the Guinness Book of Records, there's a man who had hiccups 50 years.
Whoa.
So every time I get hiccups, I'm like, are they going to stop?
And then you probably stress about them not stopping, and it makes them worse.
Quite stressful.
So how do you get rid of them?
Oh, for myself, I'll just do the hold your breath thing.
Yeah.
But if someone else has hiccups, I like to employ the scare tactic.
Yes, yeah.
So the trick is to not let them know you're going to help them.
No.
Because that would destroy, the point would go away.
Yeah.
But if you hear someone's got hiccups, or even if they don't, but you think they might be getting hiccups, just give them a fright.
Do you go for like the boo kind of fright?
I go boo and arms moving.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got two ways. Well, I've got my way, and that's the water. But to try and drink it, you put a spoon in the cup so that the spoon kind of hits your face, and then you kind of have to tilt your head differently to finish drinking your water.
Okay.
Which makes you drink water differently, which I think does something to your diaphragm. I'm not a doctor. Does something to your diaphragm. But anyway, if people can imagine me trying to explain to Alex how I drink out of this cup with a spoon. Anyway, that's entertaining times. But I have a friend. She got me really good one day, and it wasn't a scary fright. It was actually a really excited, joyful fright. I had the hiccups. We were working. Just could not get rid of them, and she must have got really sick and tired of it, and she was like, and she just dropped into conversation. She's like, oh my God, Erin, I've got something I've got to tell you. I'm like, okay, what is it? And she goes, I'm pregnant. And I went, which is exactly the same kind of fright thing that a fright does. And tell you what, my hiccups were gone.
That's fantastic.
So if anyone out there starts dropping surprise pregnancy bombs on people and you've got the hiccups, you know what they're trying to do. But I will always remember that one. I was like, I could not believe it. I'd had them all day for such a long time, and everyone was like, oh, hold your breath, do this. I tried my water thing and it wasn't working that time, and it was her little fake announcement there that got me. But that's memorable for me, that one. Yeah.
It's a good answer.
Yeah, it is a good answer. And on that bombshell, thank you everyone for joining us on this episode of the Bowls Hour today, the show for all things bowls. If you enjoy listening to this podcast, remember to share it around. We can be found on Facebook every week from 7 p.m, as well as Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and the Bowls New Zealand website, or wherever you get your podcasts. Tune in next week for more talk about everything bowls. Until then, roll on.
They were rampaging along, won their first 2 games. They've lost their last 2, but they could have probably won both of them.
Fantastic looking facility there in the deep south.
I'm sure they're going to come out firing tonight.
From memory, he was leading last week. Are you going to be leading this week, or?
bottom with 6 points and second for bottom with 3. Yes and no. Yes and no. Paid off for them. They got a 2, double a 4 and won 6 points. Depends what the teams above you do, doesn't it?